So, was gibt's denn zu tun? Der Utzbo. Finish Reboot. Hier Export nochmal und Olivera. Okay. So, facility Tunis studies. Tunis has gone straight to the HEP core and is asked not to be disturbed. What is she doing down there? Scraper market. Processor. Prep. So, Utzbo safe house, cleaning house. Utzbo collapsed while you were recovering, but its members and enforcers are still on dark side. Shift boxes. Ankita and those working with her have gathered and packed a lot of the Utzbo materials, but they need moving out. Search safe house. Safe house stretches deep into the block and beyond. Utzbo had many secrets, and this is the time to reveal them. Watch as the last stack of crates is guided up and out of the cavernous Utzbo safe house. You doubt it will be long before this space is filled. Darkside will not tolerate a vacuum for long. The city takes every opportunity. Its inhabitants build in every crack and crevice. As Utzbo's spaces are cleared, they will be occupied. The gang's legacy will be buried under factories, kitchens, markets, and housing. But the people will remember the cold and desperate grip they once held on this place, even if the city does not. On the gloat, the voice takes you by surprise, and you turn to see Oren, floating in the shadows, arms folded. It drifts forward into the pool of yellow light. You overthrew a tyrant. You should be pleased with yourself. His tone is flat. and you're unsure how to read his statement. It wasn't just me, many people did this. I suppose, or in I see. But from what I heard, you burned those pale eyes out of his skull. He smiles a thin smile. I imagine it was quite the sight. You don't recall the moment of Lane's death. In fact, the abstract nature of that moment, almost dreamlike, means you had almost forgotten. You tense a little as a scream comes back to you, a screech of white noise bathed in white light. Oren is still still watching you. He almost would have respected you for actually doing it. Oren inspects his knuckles. If he could have respected a creature like you. What do you want? Oren grins. Just to satisfy my curiosity. I came here to clear out the old disease, just like you. Oren gestures to the space. Utspo had to go, and I came here to be part of that process. You can't burn everyone you don't like out of this place. I'm afraid. Oren folds his arms. This is our home, whether you like it or not. I didn't like Lane. It's hard to imagine anyone did. He saw Darkseid for the opportunity it was, and woke Utspo from its slumber. He turned the gang into an administration, and a city into a machine. It was too erratic for my taste, perhaps, but he held this place, shaped it into something. I see that you have no intention of doing the same. So what will happen now? Oren meets your eye. You've created a space that must be filled. Will you take responsibility for that at least? People will decide. Oh, will they? Oren chuckles. I can see that you don't know the first thing about Darkseid and its people. The people decided on Utspo. You changed that. Now you want them to pick something else. They are opportunists, all of them. They will choose for their own benefit only. In the end, I should thank you. The city was done with Lane. Oren gives you a nod. Now I will be honest enough to admit that you did what I did. But never forget that you are an outsider here, and Darkseid hates outsiders. Before you can respond, Oren kicks off and glides up towards the upper levels of the safe house, leaving you alone in the empty space. Though you do not put weight on his words, they still sting. Perhaps you think there's something to them. Who are you to decide the future of a city, when your own future is falling apart each cycle? Is a decline a spiral that can trap others in its wake, or a necessary transition? The crisis before a new shape emerges. You hug your arms close to your side, suddenly cold in the stripped bare safe house, and ascend once more. Hey. Mach mal. Das ist meine. Also die Hexpot-Remains sind gleich hier, okay. Ja, machen wir das zuerst. As the rig drew closer to Hexport, the group became silent, now staring out at what is left of what was once a thriving station. You feel empty. The full extent of the damage is impossible to ignore. Grim. Seraphin shakes his head. It doesn't feel like we were here that long ago, he sighs. And now, this is what's left. I look at the clouds of scattered debris, the layers of the station torn open to the void. It is a reminder of how close the war and the unseen atrocities of the inner system are to shifting into the belt. I don't like digging around in a place like this. Seraphin turns to you. let's be quick about it. We need to know what happened. Seraphin nods. Looking at this place, I'm not sure that's going to be possible. Look out at the gutted station. It's hard to know where you might start among all that debris. You head to the airlock to suit up and get ready. You ready for this? Cadet catches up with you in the passageway. This place is already giving me the creeps. I'm ready. Cadet nods. If there are answers to be found, we'll find them. I don't like being back here. Hier is suiting up. But Femi and I could have... She stops herself. We need to find out who's responsible for this. Cadet takes a suit from the locker. Seraphin said the radiation is lower than expected, but still too high for prolonged exposure. The suits should keep most of it off us, but we can't take long out there. Stress on the suits and the rig, she says. We'll be forced to leave in 3 cycles. Cadet grabs a helmet. Not a moment more. Get ready too, your mind filled with memories of Hexport. You hope they will help you navigate this shattered ruin, but looking at what's left, you doubt it. Okay. Forensic search. Understanding what happened on Hexport means searching through the ruined station and piecing together the story. Search ruins. Most of Hexport has been ripped apart. Exploring it will be dangerous work, but how else to discover what happened? Hunt for data. Parts of the shattered station's network are active, driven by the fractured solar cells. Perhaps they hold some clues. You hear that, sleeper? Cadet stops among the debris just outside the ruined exchange. The search so far has been thankless, a grim slog through endless debris. You're glad of the break. You stop floating in the dark and listen. There's a hissing on the open comm channel, a hissing you've grown used to. Now that you listen to it again, though, you notice something else in the noise. There's something different to it now. The texture, a modulation of tone. Is that a voice? Cadet cuts in. Someone is speaking. Her eyes look white through the faceplate of her suit. Listen carefully, and yes, perhaps there's a voice there, though it is quiet and distant. It could be a person speaking, or it could be some residual signal from an automated system, one that is slowly dying in this wasteland. See Cadet moving around, testing the signal strength from different positions. It's coming from the direction of the docks. Her voice hisses through the comms, layering over the broadcast. Survivor? Cadet meets your eyes, both of you hoping this might be true. It's probably just a comms echo. Seraphin's voice cuts in over the comms. We can't go chasing ghosts, not with so little time left. The rig can't sit out here getting cooked by radiation, and neither can you. Seraphin's voice distorts and shifts. You should move to the epicenter, where Factory Row used to be. That's where this all went down. Cadet looks at you, and you know she wants to chase the signal to the docks. She wants there to be someone there, calling out to you. You look over towards the remains of Factory Row, the epicenter as Seraphin called it. There's now a cloud of debris and fragments of base, a shadow of what it once was. For the first time in a long while, you think of Karsten. Look back at the remains of the docks, a few warning lights and systems still flickering away in the ruins. With not much time left here, you have a choice about where to focus your efforts. Dark trails. That ghostly broadcast came from the docks. There's someone hiding out here. Trace broadcast. Broadcast must have a source. By tracing the hardware it used, it might be possible to locate it. It was a survivor. The voice in the broadcast must be a survivor. The signal came from the docks, so the search starts here. Blast analysis. Factory row was obliterated in the blast, but what was the cause and type of explosion? Navigate debris. The debris itself is the most useful clue here, and searching through it might yield results. Map explosion. Looking at the debris patterns and the remaining sections of station should indicate the nature of the explosion, in theory. Bin die schon. Good. Urgent. The broadcast echoes through your comms. Retrieval required. Conway network agents, please respond. You float beside Cadet. The two of you shocked to silence by the sight in front of you. Both of you have traced the ghost signal deep into the docks, all the time wondering if it might be the voice of a survivor. But you had not prepared yourself for this. In a corner of the docks, there's a nest of machines, a gathering of drones and motorized sleds, crane systems and docking clamps. A nest for the drone mind. Stop, please. The voice shimmers with distortion, relayed on the same carrier signal as the ghost broadcast. We wish to be recovered. You don't know the mechanics of what you're looking at, but you understand it. The drone mind fled here, but how? You exchange a look with Cadet, and she seems unsure of what to do. You switch your comms channel to the broadcast signal. What happened here? Unverified access, unable to resist, requesting recovery. The drone mind's voice trembles with glitches. Confirm Conway extraction's role and identify. Wonder what this mind knows. Is it just an interface designed to speak between humans and drones with a recognizable cadence of intelligent speech? Or is it a thinking machine? Here, click as Cadet switches to a private channel. This thing is a weapon. Voice is flat, unemotional. We should be careful what we say here. Confirm Conway extraction's role and identify. The drone mind intones. Please. Make up a designation that sounds plausible. Cadet turns to you and raises an eyebrow. Confirming with central control. The nest shudders. Confirmation impossible. Connection severed. Retrying. Look, Cadet hisses through the private channel. It's hardwired to the station. Look where she is nodding and see a single thick power cable snaking from an industrial wall outlet. The nest is clustered around the other end, huddling close to the fading power supply of the station, like it's the dying embers of a fire. Urgent. The broadcast starts again. Retrieval required. Conway network agents, please respond. Cadet moves forward a little. I order you to deliver a report on your current status. This is a direct report from Conway Control. She turns back to you and shrugs. It's worth a shot. Confirmation impossible. Connection severed. The nest fades, then flickers back to life. Temporary bypass activated. Cognitive function minimal. Power supply minimal. Hardware suboptimal configuration. No drone units connected. I am alone. The shift between communication registers between formal and human is unsettling. Code center compromised. Data extracted by third party. Self-destruct disabled. Purge protocol disabled. Parts of the nest fall away, the power draining faster as the drone mind attempts to draw more from the station. Please. The drone mind asks nonsensically. Please stop. Did you destroy the station? Cadet moves close now, bearing down on the nest. It is little more than a pile of broken machines, cowering in a corner as the power fades. Self-destruct attempted. Process failed. Hardware purge attempted. Process failed. Self-preservation protocol activated. Propagated through the station network. Station failed. Central failure imminent. Please stop. Machine in the nest begins to go dark. Please stop. Please stop. Cadet turns back to face you. It didn't do this, she sighs. It tried, though. Tried to destroy itself and take the station with it. She turns back to you to look at the failing mind, hiding in machines it was not built to inhabit. It escaped into the network and ended up here. It isn't responsible. Responsible or not, that's enough. The cadet reaches over and rips the power cable from the wall, leaving it floating. Then it shuts off, the broadcast channel going silent. The bay goes dark. What was left of the drone mind, whatever protocol or data escaped into these machines and their network, it is gone now. There's no hardware left to hold it. Come on. Cadet glides out of the room, leaving you among the dead machines. Okay. You feel the moment you wake a flicker at the edge of your perception, a sensation beyond your body. Blinking, a tugging, and then numbness as something shuts off within you. The panic is instant, the feeling of something not being right within you spiking your fear. But no pain comes. You feel no further shifts, and as time stretches out, you settle again, calm yourself. You know immediately that this is what Bliss was referring to. Your frames decline. The reboot should reverse. You flex a little, feel your body. Try to ground yourself in it. It will not collapse this cycle, but something has changed. This is how it will be, until the reboot. You hope you have long enough to finish what you must. You begin the cycle slowly, holding the pieces of yourself together. You try not to let your thoughts wander to darker things and fix your eyes on the tasks ahead. The belt drifts past the window, following a flow of its own, expanding, collapsing, shifting. Its own way, in its own way. People say it is drifting away, getting further from Helian's star, that one day it will drift out of the system altogether into interstellar space. You find a strange solace in that, somehow knowing that entropy is the way of the universe makes your own decline palatable, at least for a little longer. Permanent glitch. You float on the pieces of what was once Factory Row. There's little way to see what these pieces once were, scattered and scorched as they are. You cannot assemble them back into the place in your mind, and the longer you have searched here, the more that this broken place has weakened your memory of when it was whole. But you have managed to put something together here, part of the story of Hexport's final moments. That story is told in the blast marks on the exterior plates, the patterns of debris, the materials and makeup of the station's remains. Beyond that, one other thing is remarkable. There aren't any bodies. It seems that Hexport had some warning. The lack of docked ships and lack of mass casualties, though the explosion surely killed many, It all suggests a station that had time to react, to at least evacuate in part. And then there's the blast. An explosion that the evidence points to as coming from the outside of the station. It is hard to tell, as so much secondary damage was caused by debris and shrapnel, but the pattern is there if you look. Something catches your eye, and you look over to see Cadet arriving alongside you, studying the same debris as you. What do you think? I think a voice crackles through the comms link. Whoever did this is a monster. The explosion came from the outside. Cadet shakes her head. They hit the station because the drone mind got out, entered the network. Look at the debris. Cadet is right. This is why Hexport was destroyed. The drone mind got out, entered the network. Who knows what it might have done? Could it have taken apart the station itself, overloading every system, opening every airlock? Was its drive towards self-destruction that strong? Someone didn't wait to find out. Its escape sealed the station's fate. In the end, there's only one conclusion. Those who brought the drone mind to Hexport, who dug into its code and systems while it was alive, they ended the station. Okay. Jenny knocks gently on the frame of the berth's doorway. Sleeper, can I show you something? There's an excitement in her eyes that makes it impossible to say no. Jenny talks most of the way down into the HEP facility, which is no short journey. She explains the scale of the data hidden within the station's mainframe, but also the issues with extracting it. When the HEP was first expanded, when it became Darkside after the collapse, no one gave much thought to preserving the existing network architecture. She guides you through the substructure, picking a route through the maze of shuttered passages. They parasited their tech directly into the existing system, so now, thousands of cycles later, the two networks are totally enmeshed, dependent on each other. Tuni takes a series of sudden turns, and you realize this is a very familiar route to her now. Messing with the Solheim network means messing with the system that keeps the city going. She leads you down a long corridor, one you recognize as leading directly to the core. This meshing is not a good thing. She shakes her head. It makes Darkside brittle, fragile even. This place is on more of a knife's edge than anyone would believe. You look around. Suddenly, the underside you're now traveling through looks cycles away from collapse. But all the data we've been extracting, that I've been archiving, Ginny continues, it could help us here. It could help us clean up the HEP systems, and we could turn this place into an archive, so that others could come to learn more about the ruins Solheim left us. What is in all this data? Anything you can imagine. Everything from corporate message records to blueprints and maps. She shakes her head. It's too much for me to process or understand, but thanks to our visit to the bunker, I have a plan and something that will help me. You arrive at the doors to the mainframe and Juni suddenly stops. I spoke to Bliss. They told me... She pauses. I'm sorry, Sleeper. I know you have a lot to deal with right now. Don't worry. Juni smiles quickly. I'll do my best. Juni hits a button and the doors hiss open. You both glide into the mainframe, its columns studded with the blinking lights of active traffic. I got the idea from you, actually. Well, from you and Overseer. Juni glides over to the mainframe. You look at the mainframe and you see now that it is surrounded by new terminals and wiring. Some kind of external access network Juni has set up. I've had a borrow and steal to get this going, but now we have safe access into the network. It's low risk. She moves over to one of the terminals. It's not quite finished though. I recall the last time you were here. Lane, Overseer. The spear of white light and then nothing. You wonder where Overseer is now, if they are anywhere at all. Remember how it felt being dissolved into the network, the vertiginous possibility of life without a body. Something flickers through the lights, a shimmer of movement like a fish beneath water. Sleeper? Then it breaks your train of thought. Are you listening? I was saying I need more data to finish preparing. She shrugs. I know. We've already extracted so much, but there's often so little of it that's usable among the bit rot and corruption. Where from? Helium Gate is the place to get data. Apart from here, it's the biggest pre-collapse facility in the belt, and its hostile conditions means a lot of it is untouched. If it's too much before your reboot, I get it. I just want to do something with everything we've managed to grab from the bunker and the wrecks. We pulled it from the dark. Let's expose it to the light. Jun turns back to face you. Well, this is what I wanted to show you. She looks away. It's very impressive. It will be when it's finished. She smiles. Thank you. Jun turns back to the terminal, and before long she is fully engrossed. You imagine she barely even remembers you are here. Leave Junie to her preparations and start your ascent to the streets of Darkside. Thoughts of Overseer flickering in the back of your mind. There's not much to celebrate on your return from the remains of Hexport, but you're glad to be back here all the same. There's something surprising in that. Darkside is a haven, not a prison. The slowly occurring idea of this overgrown city as a home. As you have seen in Hexport, stability cannot be taken for granted, not anywhere in the belt, but Darkside has a solidity and life that feels like it might endure. Cadet catches up with you. We need to talk. She looks around, but not here. Come, I have something I want to show you. Cadet leads you deep into the heart of Darkside, through quiet corridors and bustling streets on paths you didn't know existed. As you glide after her, the station seems to grow in your mind, its possibilities multiplied by the routes that pass through it. Just through here, Cadet leads you across a covered bridge, the view on either side looking down caverns of lit units. This close to the center of Darkside, the air is warm and the passages are quiet. Here, Cadet smiles. This is the place. She points at a low and wide entrance, with storage racks inside. Next door is a smaller unit with a window looking out to the passage. It seems like a workshop, perhaps abandoned or never finished. It is dusty and dark. I've been keeping an eye on it. It's abandoned. She glides inside and slaps a wall pad. Lights flicker on, illuminating a constellation of dust. She floats in the glittering specks. Looks promising? Cadet laughs. Okay, I know it's a wreck, but it's a start. When we've been on Darkside, I've been coming out here. I just happened across it, but I knew when I found it, I want to start again, Sleeper. She knocks on a metal wall, and this is where I'm going to make the start. What we saw in Hexport, what's left of it, just confirmed it to me. We can't stop these people. We can't stop the war. She runs her finger across the storage racks. We have what? The drive? Or our suspicions? Who can we pin this on to? She looks over the workshop. I don't want to think about it anymore. I want to start again. I want to work, to ride my bike and courier packages till I fall into my bed at the end of the day with nothing left. Cadet picks up an old corroded tool from the racks. I want to build something here, in spite of everything, in spite of the fact that they could take it all away, because that's the point. To go on living without conceding. To go on building or trying to build something where we can find it. That's what I brought you here to understand. So you'd know why I'm letting this all go. I understand. You could do the same, you know. Cadet frowns. We don't have to beat ourselves senseless against the truth. My old life is gone. Clearing my name on the far spindle doesn't matter. The spindle checks will have forgotten me. But this place, Cadet smiles. It doesn't know me at all. You know where the drive is, what it contains. You know what happened at Hexport. Cadet's eyes shine on the workshop lights. Take it from me. It's yours now. I can't carry this anymore. I will. She nods. Thank you. My travels are over. If you need to find me, I will be here. Cadet smiles. Thank you for all you've done. I hope you can understand why I need to do this. She turns and disappears deeper into the workshop. You cross the bridge again, dark side glowing on all sides. You think of the drive, buried deep in some compartment within the Scatter Yards hub, filled with data worth destroying a station over. It is yours now. But you wonder, as you cross back through the city, your mind racing, how can all this end well? Fresh start. Cadet is busy setting up her new courier service and trying to forget the path that brought her here. Ah. Hätte ich direkt weitermachen können. Okay. Wenn ich schon da bin, dann machen wir das halt. This has been in touch, sleeper. Servant turns and looks over his shoulder as soon as you enter the cockpit. He's sitting in the pilot seat, running diagnostics on the console. They say they are ready for the reboot. Did they say anything else? Be noblesse. Servant rolls his eyes a little. They vary. He turns fully in his seat. How are you feeling? Rough. Servant nods and doesn't answer. He seems to be thinking about something. I know the reboot needs to happen. Servant speaks slowly, carefully. And I know the risks. I can see all that. But I also know what happened last time. He pauses. And I don't want you to forget don't want you to forget again. To lose all this. He gestures around the cockpit. Everything we've done. Neither do I. Zephyr nods silently, unsure what to add. I'm not trying to scare you. I just need to say that if the reboot doesn't go how we want, I'll miss you. I'll miss all this. I will too. If you remember, Seraphim laughs, shakily at his own joke. Seraphim turns back to his pilot console. Whenever you're ready, we can go to Flickero to Bliss. Seraphim pokes at the console in front of him. If you have things you want to wrap up first, I understand. I would too. Here. Seraphim tosses an object across the cockpit and you catch it out of the air. Take that with you when you go to Bliss. It's good luck. You open your hand and see a familiar metal disc, a coin. Its engraving rubbed away to little more than vague shapes and signs. Tala gave it to me, now it's yours. You can't run from this forever, alright? He glances over his shoulder and smiles. We've done enough running away, anyway. He turns back to the console and returns to the diagnostics. You leave the cockpit and run a hand along the ribbed metal wall of the passage outside. Is it really possible that you could forget all this? All these layers of memory, of experience? Perhaps you can put it off a little longer, take another tour around the belt, tie up loose ends, or perhaps you've had enough of that. Why try to escape the inevitable? You try to recall how it felt when you awoke after Lane interrupted the first reboot. Even that is fading into a hazy memory, told by an unreliable narrator. Maybe this is just the next step then, one of thousands that put you here, and the first of the thousands more that will take you onward. You come out of your thoughts still unsure, still aware that the decision of when to take that step ultimately rests with you. Das haben wir noch gar nicht gemacht. Ja. Da habe ich mich vertan. Oh Mann, okay. Ja, gucken wir halt mal kurz, was da passiert. Sleeper, Number wants to see you. You nod to the other volunteers as you wipe off your hands and clip your cutlery through the magnetic rack. You drift out of the improvised canteen on your way to the kitchen in the back. It was a busy shift, and each shift seems busier than the last. That makes sense, of course. You've seen the steady flow of refugees arriving from the inner system, and most of them with barely a chit to their name end up in the underhang. As you cross into the kitchen, you can still hear the rumble of the refugees' conversations through the hatch. The other chef leads you past the rehydrators and the hand-built centrifugal oven to a small office unit at the back of the kitchen. They knock on the door for you, then glide away to finish their own meal, leaving you to wait by it. You look across the small but carefully arranged kitchen as you wait. Your shifts here have left you familiar with the mix of improvised and salvaged equipment, some of which you had never seen before you came here. Come in, sleeper. Nemba is perched at a desk, uplit by a small, transparent terminal screen, reading glasses perched on the end of his nose. You've seen Nemba before, but not as much as you'd imagine you would while working at a place called Nemba's Kitchen. Even though there isn't a proper sign out front, everyone in the underhang knows its name. The man himself is more of a mystery. Apart from the occasional barked order in the busy kitchen, he's little more than a blur to you. Why do you work here? He barely looks up from his terminal screen, the scrolling text reflected in his lenses. I want to help. Nemba stops scrolling the screen and looks over his glasses at you. You do well here, sleeper. You're fast, precise, you're doing good work. Goes back to scrolling. Thanks. Nemba lifts a hand in response. That's my worry, sleeper. Good workers like you, they move on fast. He leans back and looks at you. 10 cycles, maybe more, maybe less, and then they are gone. And the team? The team gets used to having them here, gets used to working at that pace, then suddenly they have to work differently. They have to pick up the slack, change jobs, change stations, and a few of them think, well, maybe it's time I moved on too. So what I found is, good workers are trouble, especially those who come and go, like you. He pauses, watching you. Let him speak. This place that runs on consistency, sleeper. Those that turn up every cycle, good or bad, they get the people fed. He takes off his reading glasses, inspecting them for smudges. Let's be honest, that ain't you. So let's cut to it. I can't use you in the kitchen anymore. You're done. He shrugs. Sorry. But this place also runs on all those machines out there. On the suppliers I can rope in, the donations. Feeding refugees from the inner system is logistics as much as it is chefing. He shakes his head, which is why I'm cooped up in the back. So maybe you're gone. I never see you again. Okay. Thanks for coming. We'll soldier on without you. But maybe you still want to be useful. Maybe I heard you have a ship. He smiles at you. Yeah, maybe I heard you chatting. And maybe I have a little something held up in a place only a ship like yours can reach. I negotiated the purchase of some valuable inner system spores from a group that came from here. But they somehow ended up at the depot in Greenbelt. Number size. So if you head to Greenbelt and you find the delivery and you bring it back, well, Nemba looks at you pointedly. That would be helping. That would be the kind of helping a good worker, even an inconsistent worker, might be able to offer me. Nemba squints at you. Seems like the kind of thing that someone genuine, someone who wants to help for real, might do, don't you think? He doesn't wait for your reply. But it also seems like the kind of thing that might sit on a list of priorities for so long it disappears and never gets done. I've seen that happen too. I guess we'll find out which it is. He deftly places his reading glasses back on his face and continues to scroll the screen on his terminal. You know the way out, sleeper. You turn in the doorway, slightly taken aback, and it slides shut behind you. You glide out through the kitchen, through the improvised canteen and the people eating and chatting there, and into the cold underhang passageway beyond. All the time considering what you might do next, and recalling that persuasive glint in Nemba's eyes. Ah ja, passt ja. Muss ich ja eh hin. Biosphere, once barren, is transformed. Where it was once dry and grey, it now swirls with amber dust, a hazy cloud cut through with the bone-white tendrils of steppe silk. Aki, in mask and goggles, lets the biosphere's circulating air play with the end of her scarf, twirling and twisting, even threatening to rip it from her neck. That scarf, she has explained, is woven from the bast fibers of the steppe silk itself. That is why this place is known as Weaver's Fields, for the workshops of Greenbelt residents creating fabric from its steppe silk fibers. Weavers who fled from Ember Steppe and those taught afresh by Aki herself. Isn't it beautiful? Aki asks, her eyes glowing. Ember Steppe reborn on this rock, but not as an archive, as something new. The plants themselves are reconfigured. The steppe silk adapts well to the microgravity, even thrives. And the dust itself becomes a cloud that surrounds it. Aki points to a tendril stretching across the space. What was once a burrowing plant is now a bridging plant. Like us, it projects itself across empty space, pushing out into its new conditions. Aki looks at you. Sorry, I'm rambling. This place does that to me. Her chuckle is muffled by a mask. It is beautiful. Aki bows. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Let's leave the dust house. We can talk more easily outside. He shepherds you through some nearby double doors, the space between blasting you with air to clean away the dust. You find yourself in a sparse room, racks of unfamiliar tools on the wall, slit-like windows looking out into the amber dust storm. This is just the beginning for us. Aki has slipped off her mask, and her voice is crisp and bright above the rumbling of the air recyclers. The steppe silk is already being harvested, retted and woven. This is no synthetic fiber from the dark side looms. This is a natural fabric out here in this unnatural place. Aki brushes a little dust away. We will trade it and get what Greenbelt needs to stay stable to feed its people. I'm the administrator, but the workers are the owners here. We will make a future for ourselves from our work. Aki shrugs. We control our path. What more could we want? Silence falls in the room. The idea of such a future so desirable that it is almost painful. An idea that haunts you. You can spend as much time here as you like. Aki breaks the silence, somehow aware of your thoughts. I find the noise soothes me. Thank you. Aki bows gently. Aki pauses. There's something you want to ask me. She smiles. I can see it right there, on the tip of your tongue. Explain about Nimba. Aki listens carefully as you talk about the refugees in the far spindle and the possibility of setting up mutual relationship between them and Greenbelt. Far spindle is a long way from here, she sighs. Come find me in my unit later. We can discuss more then. Leave Aki in her dust house, surrounded by the landscape of her home world, one of many creatures born on that parched moon that is in the process of transforming into something new. Retrieve spores. Nemmer's place is as busy as ever. You're sure he'll be happy to finally get his spores. You bring the spore crates to the kitchen's loading dock. Some of the volunteers come out to say hi. You remembered us. Nemmer appears at the loading dock, slate in hand, as you load the crates into the back of the kitchen. I'm a little surprised. You look at the chef. He looks tired, though his sharp eyes haven't dulled in the time between your meetings. Happy to surprise you? Well, I'm not that surprised. He smiles, but it's still a pleasant feeling. Nemmer glides over to a crate to take a look. He squints at the crumbled corners and bent lids. Not in great condition, though. How long have these been bouncing around in your hold? At least they arrived. That certainly does rank you above our previous delivery. Nemmer nods. You have my thanks. I have a place picked out in one of the bays to cultivate these. Warm, damp, near the air recyclers. He pushes one of the crates gently into the kitchen. Shouldn't take long before we have mushrooms to cook. You follow Nemmer into the kitchen, remembering your shifts working here. They were long, but the company was good, and as with all things, the difficulties have faded with time, leaving a golden sheen behind. Nemmer seems to catch the way you're looking at the kitchen. Much the same as before, I'm sure you noticed, but twice as oversubscribed. Each cycle more refugees come out of the inner system. The war isn't going anywhere. Nemmer pushes the crate into a storage rack and pulls netting across it. They disperse across the belt, of course, but many don't make it much further than the overhang, especially if they can't work. It's not just food either. We need blankets, housing. Nemmer suddenly pauses and shoots you a look over his glasses. Tell me, how was Greenbelt? Thriving. Interesting. Nemmer meets your eye. Why do I get the feeling you had something to do with that? I heard it was organized as a cooperative, all the workers sharing in the trade of their goods. But no chits exchanged, only resources for the colony. Nemmer watches you closely. I had to pay cryo for the spores. Well, they can't all be saints. He smiles. I'm sorry for that. I mention it because, well, it might be the kind of place to offer aid to the people here. Nemmer sighs. I regret being mercenary, but waiting for benevolent helpers doesn't work. Apart from present exceptions, of course. I can introduce you to Aki, the administrator. Nemmer nods. That might be the way to do it. You have the feeling Nemmer was waiting for your suggestion. Here. He takes one of the crates of spores. I'm sure they could use these. Take them as a gift. He pushes it to you. Meanwhile, I've meal prep to begin. He takes a deep breath. Thank you for the spores, really. I will keep asking for help. You have to forgive me for that. He smiles. It doesn't mean I don't understand what you're giving. Now, get out of here. Nemmer waves you away with your crate of packed spores, his expression somehow both withering and encouraging at the same time. Okay. Aki is working in a unit. Now the step silk is established and Greenbelt stable. It seems like the right time to bring her Nimbus spores. Aki looks at the crate of spores with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. The well-traveled crate does appear very rough at this point. Come in. The door of Aki's unit slides open, and you see her perched at the terminal, her face pale in the blue light of the screen. You have not seen her in this setting before. She seems paler, older when she isn't surrounded by the soft light of the biomes. Just one moment. Her eyes do not leave the screen, and she leans in closer, squinting at some detail. You get the sense this is her least favorite part of her administrative position. She sighs and looks up. Done. Immediately, her eyes are drawn to the crate you carry. What have you brought me? A gift? She raises eyebrows. From who? Let me see. As she unlocks the one catches on the crate, you explain about Nemba and his work to feed the refugees in the underhang. You aren't sure Aki is listening though. She seems too eager to see inside the crate. Aki manages to get the lid open and lift the dented canister out of the inside. She turns it, peering through the small windows at the dusty-looking translucent sheet curled inside. Spore prints. She looks at you. This is quite a gift. From this Nemba, you said? She carefully slots the canister away. We will make good use of these. The tunnels under Greenbelt will make an excellent mushroom garden. She smiles to herself. I was lucky enough to be taught how to tend mushrooms by a true expert. Will you meet Nemba? Meeting. She glances over her shoulder at her terminal. I can't leave Greenbelt, not now. She looks at you sheepishly. I'm a little nervous to ask this of you, given your ferrying back and forth of messages and deliveries, but would you bring Nemba here so we can speak? Gladly. Lucky smiles. I hope that would be the case. A shrill beep begins emanating from Aki's terminal. No. Smiles. The Weavers. I need to speak to them. You make your way out of the unit as Aki takes a deep breath, then accepts the incoming transmission. One more run from Greenbelt to the far spindle and back again. At least you aren't carrying spores this time. Okay. Another flicker in the dark before waking, and a numbness that follows soon after. You wake slowly and stare out of the flickering stars, at the flickering stars and the distant rocks of the belt. You let the thoughts of fear or panic wash over you. They pass like the soft dust of the belt, disappearing into darkness. You find yourself once more, as you do every morning, as you will continue to do, cycle after cycle, until you can't. You wonder what part of you has changed, what system is failing. Your frame is silent. Its complaints only felt in ambiguous sensations. The glitches seem random, unpredictable, but also inevitable. They will only increase in number until you reboot yourself. But you do not know what lies beyond that. At least the glitches are dependently familiar. The reboot is anything but. You're the first to notice them, small white, smooth shapes at the boundaries between hull plates in the seams of paneling curling out from beneath vents. Mushrooms, dotted here and there all across the cargo bay. Mushrooms growing on your ship. We should vent the cargo bay. Seraphine's voice crackles through the cargo bay's speakers. He's flying the ship, but you updated him on your new passengers. This is what comes from having spores in wonky crates sitting in your bay, cycle after cycle. You scan over the cargo bay. It doesn't get used much. Most of your halls fit comfortably in one quarter. There's plenty of room to isolate a little growing area, maybe with some plastic sheets. Or you could just open the hatch and let the void of space sterilize the whole place for you as you fly. After all, if these things get into the air recyclers, you could have a serious problem in your hands, on your hands, and who knows what they might do to the wiring. Either decision will bother Nemba, at least. His spores are delivered, and you have a free hand to choose. Keep. Okay, but it's up to you to figure out how to harvest and prepare them. Seraphin's voice echoes through the bay. As you leave the cargo bay, you suddenly realize you've taken on yet another project. It is becoming a habit. Okay. Fungus farmer. It turns out that turning a cargo bay into a mushroom farm is more work than you thought. It will take a while. Find caps. Part of the job of preparing the bay is finding all the stray caps that you don't want to take root and pulling them out. Isolate bay. Putting up plastic sheeting to isolate a section of the bay for farming is a big job, and it just takes focus and patience. Ja, okay. Dann wird das noch ein bisschen dauern. Hier, was haben wir? Das Ding sind wir dabei, haben wir. Da sind wir so, ja, denke ich mal so gut wie durch. Export. Ja, keine Ahnung, wie viel da noch kommt. Und Olivera wird wahrscheinlich einfach nur ein bisschen kurzer Besuch und ein bisschen plaudern und Zeug sein. Ja, schauen wir mal. Vielleicht sind wir dann nächstes Mal fertig mit allem.